Well, good day, everyone. So I'm here in Emerald. We're just leaving the motel that we stayed at last night. They call it an inn. It's basically apartments, they call it here in Australia. I don't know if that means the same thing in other places. Which way are we going, Marg? Left. So this is a little bit of Emerald, which is 4 hours west of Rockhampton, which we call Rocky. 200 metres, turn left onto Gregory Highway, Hussville Road. Gregory Highway, turn left. Right. Gregory was one of the Australian explorers who opened up parts of Queensland. Take the next left onto Gregory Highway, Hussville Road. Like in America, explorers played a huge part in early white settlement, I guess you'd call it. What was that? Turning now? So I'll show you the when we're sitting behind cars, I'll try not to show you their number plates. Bit of the scenery around. Did you put your window down? So it was down. Yeah. So this is called the Central Highlands. I guess it must be built up a little bit. That's why it's a little bit greener. So rain drops because it hits the. So I'll show you a little bit of the countryside, trees, nice and green for considering it how far inland it is. On to what? What'd she say? So left here. Left. Don't have to repeat what she says. Listen to her. 300 metres, turn right onto Capricorn Highway, Short Street. Capricorn Highway. So we're on the Tropic of Capricorn, which I was explaining to Margie yesterday. The equator is like a circle running around through the middle of the Earth. The hottest. The Tropic of Cancer is halfway between the equator and the North Pole, an imaginary line running around the Earth, and it's the northernmost, if you think of the sun as moving, but it's where the sun's most overhead, is the northernmost that it reaches, is the Tropic of Cancer. Well, the Tropic of Capricorn is the southern hemisphere's equivalent. The transit of the sun overhead reaches down to the Tropic of Capricorn, and the Tropic of Capricorn goes through Rockhampton and across Queensland. Obviously, it goes all the way through the southern hemisphere. You can look all of this up. Wikipedia explains it better than me. I hope that gives you some idea and some interest as well. It's something that interests me, and I hope that things that interest me are of interest to you. If they're not, well, too bad. I'm going to talk about them anyway. Anyway, the plan is, why are we travelling? We're not going anywhere today. We're staying in Emerald tonight, but Margie wants to go fossicking, so we're looking for a place where she can go fossicking, looking for minerals. And I better obey the speed limit. 70. Set the cruise control to 70. So she's found a place that's about 40 kilometres away, 40 minutes away.
It's like a tourist spot. Go camping there.
Yes.
And it's a bit safer than going out on your own.
It's one of the tourist attractions in Emerald is to go fossicking. Apparently they have sapphires here. I don't know if they have emeralds. You'd hope so with a place called Emerald, but who knows? Could be called Emerald for other reasons. It could be that when they named Emerald, they used to call sapphires emeralds. Who knows? I'm still 70. You didn't see it change, did you? I don't know what they're doing. They pulled over, now they're pulling out again. Maybe they might have wanted to look at that sign. Yes, they could be trying to find something.
So Emerald Rose Club.
Yep. It looks dry enough to grow cotton here. Like Kununurra. Yes, Maureen. I don't know Maureen.
That's where I was born, guys. Girls.
Maureen.
Country.
Where I was born in tobacco country. Well, it is now. I don't know if it was back then. Mariba. And I grew up in sugarcane country. Ingham. I don't think the speed limit is still 70. It'd be ridiculous if this is 70.
They should show you on Google Maps.
So I'm what the speed limit is. Yeah, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I think Google's working on. So I'm trying to show you the countryside, but the mobile phone holder that I have doesn't let me bend it down so that you can see the road very well. It only lets you see the sky because of the angle of the windscreen and because there's very limited like bending ability. That's not the right word, but I can't get the phone holder to twist over far enough that I can put it down. So you're going to see a lot of sky, unfortunately. So hopefully I can find a better phone holder that gives me more range of motion. I hope you're getting to see some of the countryside though. Most of it's on the left. Out on the right, it's mostly very flat. So not much to see on the right. Except that pile of gravel or whatever it is. Let me show you. I don't know what's going on there. Argy reckons dam, maybe. There's definitely irrigation going on there. Getting ready. Looks like they've planted a crop. They've got the irrigator out. Lots of equipment. So some of the countrysides fair bit of farming by the look of it. Goes on here. I don't know what the crops are. Maybe Margie can look up emerald and see. Look up emerald on Wikipedia and see what Wikipedia tells us about emeralds. Some of the issues that I've raised might be answered on Wikipedia. Why it's named emeralds, what crops they grow here, how high above sea level it is. One of the things you need to understand about Australia is it's very, 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 very flat. Unlike most countries, the flattest place on the earth. Apart from, I mean, there are parts of some countries, but Australia is much bigger than those countries. Like China, as its desert, there's some flats, but that's lots of different countries.
So, um, its elevation is 189
189 meters above sea level. Multiply that by 3 and a bit. So if you say it's 200 level, for those of you that might be interested in such things,
The population is 4,300.
well, it's got a decent amount of. So we were telling you all about exciting emeralds and the internet dropped out. Well, agriculture.
So they have a Christian college.
Oh, that's the other thing that I found. There's about 10 churches in a town of 4,000, which is a lot for Australia. That's quite uncommon, actually. It's unusual for.
So the first explorer was Louis Leichhardt between 18.
I think it's actually Lewis Leichhardt, if I remember correctly.
1843 to
But it is.
the British colony of Australia established in 1898.
So Brisbane or somewhere. So see the little water tank on the left? We just passed it. And power lines running along the left. So for those of you, like I don't know what things are like where you live, but I just want to explain to you a little bit about what I'm familiar with. You might be able to vaguely see a fence on the left as well. On the right, sorry, I'm saying left, I mean right. Over on the left, you've actually got a railway line for trains.
So Emerald's a coal mining town?
So there's a fair bit of coal mining in Queensland, which is still the number one way that we produce power, energy, and will be for quite some time until Australians wake up and realise that nuclear is better. And stop allowing our which you know increases the just risks to get the same energy,
So
and you have to use lots of precious grapes, grain, citrus, and of course coal mining. Uh, uh, not that anyone watching this at the moment, but well.
and we weren't allowed to bring grapes into this area.
Well, that's why, because they grow grapes here, so they don't want diseases carried in grapes brought in. So we had some grapes and we had to eat them before we got here. Not that anyone's checked, by the way. So we didn't have to eat them. Um, so sorry the internet keeps dropping out. I hope you're enjoying this trip with us though. The countryside is a little bit dry here, but not quite as dry as the countryside around Kununurra. No, I know, but hopefully they'll be watching later. There must be something more interesting going on, or nobody's bothering to check YouTube to see that I'm telling them I was going to live stream in an hour or two, and then I didn't tell them actually I'm live streaming now. Excuse me. Oh, I put the eggs. Oh no, I gave the eggs to you. Do you want that water? So I think
it was pastoral.
more trees and bushland if it wasn't cattle grazing. So cattle grazing tends to reduce the trees. Either the farmer knocks the trees down so that the cattle, they can grow grass and stuff, pasture, to have something for the cows to eat, because the cows can't eat. And like giraffes, they can't climb trees and their necks aren't long enough to eat the leaves of trees. And a lot of Australian trees are actually toxic. They're not good to eat, except for animals like koalas. A bit of bushland. And of course, the railway line keeps following us. Every so often, you see the road into it in America. We call properties, cattle properties. No, those are cattle properties. Farms are where you farm things. Never call someone who runs cattle a farmer. Yes, was he a farmer as well? Yeah, well, that's because he was a farmer. That's as well. I'm talking about someone who runs cattle is not called a farmer. A farmer plows the ground and plants things to grow crops. That's farming. Some people who run cattle get very upset if you call them farmer. I'm not a farmer. I grow cattle or sheep or whatever. Not all of them care about it, but one or two join.
It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
In,
Meetings.
yeah, in California,
So is it 3 hours?
West Coast. Yes, the East Coast 3 hours ahead.
So the place is called Jim Fields. Where we're going. if it's a town or if it's just a place.
So we're going to have to fuel up again before we go to Longreach. All right. So there's a fire ahead. You might be able to see a little bit of haze on the horizon.
Oh, Ruby Vale is the other one.
Ruby Vale and Anarchy. Or Anarchy, I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce that. So do they have rubies here as well? Ruby Vale. I am coming to you.
No, I mean, into
Fossicking.
it's going to go good.
Road. It says one person's watching. Is that you? Oh. Hello, whoever you are that's watching. Welcome to Western Queensland.
The gem area of Queensland.
Gem fields near Emerald. So there's a big stockyard. That's where they hold the cattle to put them onto trucks. And there we go. Sapphire Gem Field. Willow, Sapphire, Anarchy, Ruby Vale. Zipped past that sign pretty quickly because I was busy showing you the cattle yards. Pens. Cattle run, they call it actually. Because it means that you can put one cattle on at a time. You basically corral them into the runs. I don't know. I've never worked on a station, so I don't know all the terms. That's some of the terms I know. Ruby Vale Caravan Park. Sapphire Gem Fields. Ruby Vale Gem Gallery. He's been hijacked. I'll be doing what Margie wants me to do today.
Only for half a day. I'm only going to be here not even.
And then I'll be tired and I want to go to bed. I've been running around all day doing what you want. Oh, hot pies, coffee.
Maybe.
No, no. So where are we headed to? Ruby Vale or? Oh, well, can you look on your map?
It's called Gem Fields.
Yes, and where's that? Sapphire's in 10 kilometres and Ruby Vale's in 16. And where's this thing?
10 kilometres.
All right, can you have a look and see where it is?
I don't know.
Oh, yes, you can tell if you have a look. No, I'm driving. Why can I? Are you kidding?
I don't know. It's whatever.
No, whatever. Don't worry. Don't worry. I have to do everything. Do all the things at the same time.
What did it say was first? Ruby Vale or Sapphire?
I don't remember now. You've got the map.
It doesn't tell me.
No, you would if you looked.
It doesn't tell me.
You can keep repeating that. It's not true.
Sapphire.
Thank you. How about that? And where's the gem fields? Is it near Sapphire? Do you turn off before Sapphire?
It's on the other side of Sapphire.
Right. So it's only just past Sapphire. Because you said it's 10 kilometres, and the thing said Sapphire was 10 kilometres. So you want to keep going to Rubyvale for lunch.
Is that where the
That's where it said the cafe was.
Okay, maybe go there first then.
Unless there's a cafe in Sapphire.
And if there's good internet, you can stream there.
Yes. Yeah, I know. But I didn't bring my laptop with me, which is the best way for me to stream. It's very difficult for me to stream without the laptop. All I can do is do video, but babble. I can't put up memory verses. I can't beat to eSword. I can't put people's comments up easily.
Even
It's very difficult to moderate a stream. No. I brought a tablet, but I don't want to stream that either. It's the same as the phone.
say how far it was.
16 from the sign back there. How far is Sapphire now? Or where you're trying to go? Right, so Rubyvale's 6 kilometres past that, approximately. Bobby Dazzler Mine Tours in Rubyvale. That's where the gem shop is as well. You want to go there to see the gem shop. First,
Yeah, then you come back to the other one.
gem fields. And that was a cattle grid for those of you listening
I
in.
think this is so far. This is Sapphire, guys. It's nothing here.
Well, I think Sapphire is going to be more than that. I wouldn't call it Sapphire if there's nothing there. But you'll find that it's up there. There was an interpretive tourist site back there, though. I think you'll find this in Sapphire or start of Sapphire or something. A little bit run down.
This is the Hicks town.
There's the cemetery. I think you'll
Well,
find this Sapphire is a little bit bigger than nothing. It's got a caravan park.
underground. Oh, it's underground.
There's probably old abandoned mines being turned into something.
That's the one I'm going to.
Roydo Park. Okay. Blue Gem Caravan Park. It's a wash.
It's a town of signs, guys. There's signs
Yeah,
everywhere.
they love signs. Gracious.
There's an abandoned farm.
Huskers Retreat. And the RSL, which is the Return Services League. RSL is the organisation that was set up to support those who have served in the armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force. That we're coming back to, Sapphire Heights, holiday
Oh, no,
accommodation,
that's what
Gems of Joy.
Your destination will be on the right.
What's telling you you're wrong. Like it's 400 metres away. And on the other side of the road. And there's usually an RSL in every town in Australia. Sapphire Showcase. That's the one you want to go to. And usually the RSL will have poker machines, or pokies as we call them in Australia.
gambling slots,
And yes,
slot machines.
other things to draw in money. They'll have bingo, they'll have all sorts of other ways to take money off people, to raise money for the work that they do in supporting current serving members of the armed services, and those who have served, those who are no longer active, and their families. They do a lot of good work, and it's usually a good place to get a feed too. Well, there you go. I'd say that was Sapphire. I think we're done with Sapphire. So on to Ruby Vale.
That looks like a big mining place.
I'd say we're not finished with Sapphire. Seafood,
Oh,
100%
that's that-
Aussie.
That's that seafood place we saw before.
Saw before what?
That big seafood truck.
Okay.
That's in Emerald.
Was it?
Yep.
If you say so.
So I got a gem license, but it has to tell you have to write down all the places you go to. Most of them. It's
So there's a
probably-
camel.
Oh, camel.
There's lots of camels in Australia. In fact,
They're wild.
we export, yes, they're a pest, pretty much. And we export camels to Saudi Arabia for camel racing. And I don't know if anybody eats camel, but I think we export it for that as well because we just consider them pests.
In the Bible,
Um,
it says not to eat.
We'd probably get rid of them if it was up to us and only keep them on farms. No, don't call them farms. But I guess you farm them. I'm not a pedant. I'm aware that some people are. So there's another quarry. Looks like this is a gravel and sand quarry. They've got the machines for sorting. Just sand and gravel, different sizes of gravel, different
We've never
different grades of sand.
We've never seen a live camel in the wild before.
Yes, I think that's the first wild camel I've seen in my life.
We've seen camels in room on tours,
Yes,
but not in the wild.
I've seen camels in zoos. I don't think I've ever seen a camel in the wild.
There was an Australian movie made about a young girl who went trekking across Australia on a camel. It's called Tracks. It's a very interesting movie.
Tracks.
Yeah, it's based on a true
Okay.
story.
I've heard of it.
She nearly died
How long ago
back in the 70s.
did it actually happen?
She travelled over. She did
So it was
it.
made in the 70s or she did it in the 70s?
No, she did in the 70s.
And when was the movie made?
I don't know, 2000. But
Right.
no, I saw it.
So the movie's relatively recent.
Yes.
Oh, excuse me. Hello, Lou somebody. Don't think I've seen you before. G'day.
So we're coming up to Ruby Bar. This is Ruby Bar.
Oh, it's an interesting little trip. Alright, so you want to go to the gem place first? Where's that? So we're just going to wander around and stumble across it.
Oh, did you know what it was called? Oh,
Ruby Vale Gem Shop or something. Old Mix. Largest range of sapphire jewellery, gem cuttings. Gem Seekers Caravan Park. Mugachino's Strudel Hut.
Dutch.
Wir sprechen Deutsch. No,
That's German.
German. That's the cafe I'd rather go.
I think that's it. Is it Bobby Dazzlers?
Bobby Dazzler's one.
Oh, yeah.
Ruby Vale Town Centre.
Is that it?
There's the cafe. But you want to go to there's the Gem Gallery. And Capella.
Take the next right off Island.
So Lou Scannon, thanks for joining my live stream, JR. What? Jamie Russell? I might have to end this stream. They might not let me film. We'll find out. Right. Sorry?
They're really good.
Mm. So the internet doesn't work in the shop. I'm going to shut this stream down because I can't film in there. I could film. I'm allowed to, but the internet doesn't work in there. So yes, stream isn't working. Sorry. The vagaries of internet. I have no control over that. I will be back later.